Hey there, my name is Avnet. I'm Chief of Operations here at USTASC. Just to give you a little background about myself, I've been a law enforcement officer. I was a law enforcement officer for about 15 years, both with the City Police and the County Sheriff's Office here in Wacomico County, Maryland. Additionally, I worked at the U.S. State Department as Diplomatic Security Service. I've gone through SWAT school. I'm certified as a less than lethal instructor, certified as a less than lethal deployment specialist, and a protective detail specialist, and also certified in running a protective detail. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. Hey there, so we did the Maryland State Police licensing HQL video. Now we're going to do the Maryland State Police application for a handgun permit. So we're going to go to the licensing permit homepage for Maryland State Police. The link should be on your screen. Hopefully I can make it clickable. We're going to hit log in. You do have to have an account. If you don't have an account, you're going to click here to register. You can establish an account, obviously. I already have an account, so I'm going to click log in. You have several different options here. The upper left is 77R. That's if you're purchasing a firearm. There's going to be a separate video that we do. The upper right hand corner is HGP, which is handgun permit application. That's what we're doing today. And last lower right is going to be HQL, which is handgun qualification license. That's in order to buy a handgun. So there's a difference between those two. Handgun qualification license is your HQL certificate that you got after taking 4 hours of training with a qualified handgun instructor. You would click on Start HQL. That's another video, but we're going to be doing the handgun permit application. And the lower left is Start machine gun registration, which we're not going to cover. So we're going to click Start HGP, and it's going to take you to this screen. It's going to ask you to review the information and update your information if you've already added it before. Now, I've already added my information, so it's already in the system. However, you'd enter in basic demographic information about you, your address, your current address, your identification information. That will include your social security number, your driver's license number. Now, in order to obtain a handgun permit in Maryland, there is no qualification that specifies that you have to be a Maryland resident. So if you're not a Maryland resident, let's say you're a Delaware resident or surrounding states, you can certainly still apply for a Maryland handgun qualification license. We're going to be going down here, and you're going to see a live scan PCN number. So your live scan PCN number is going to be the number that you obtain once you get your handgun, or excuse me, once you get your fingerprints done from a live scan location. You can search for live scan locations online, but you do have to be fingerprinted by a Maryland live scan location. Now, having said that, as I specified in the other video with HQL, you do not need two separate fingerprinting numbers. You don't need a separate one for a handgun permit and HQL. You can use one number for both of those applications as long as you're performing those applications within 30 days of each other. In other words, if it goes over 30 days, you apply for a handgun permit, now you're applying for an HQL or vice versa. It has to be within that 30-day time frame. Otherwise, they're purged from the system. So it's also going to ask you, are you a qualified Maryland handgun instructor? If you're not, obviously you would click no. So we're going to enter in some fake information just so that we can advance to the next screen, and it's going to ask you your handgun permit category. So you will notice that all the way towards the bottom is going to say personal protection category not listed above. Okay, it also says that you must be documented evidence of recent threats, robberies, or assaults supported by official police reports or notarized statement from witnesses. You do not need to provide that, okay, as of the date of this video. You can click that just being an ordinary citizen. Okay, if, however, you are applying for a private detective or security guard or special police or railroad police or armored car driver or guard, you have to select that option if you are applying for that license. And that is a different qualification process. So when you're qualifying for that, you have to go through a different course of fire, which is actually 50 rounds, not 25 rounds, as it is for citizens with personal protection. So just be aware that if you get your handgun permit as a citizen and then you want to go into security work, you're going to have to qualify with your security company or a handgun instructor for a different qualification process for that. So we're going to select personal protection. It's going to ask you if you are a government employee or retired law enforcement officer, so on and so forth. Then you're going to select what the original fee is. The original fee is going to be $75. Okay, so current permit applications or applicants, if you have a current permit, you would add current permit. Okay, and it's going to ask you for that general information. Okay, what the permit number was, what the expiration date, if you have a private detective number, or you have or you have a prior handgun permit for personal protection, or you had a handgun permit as a prior business owner. So it used to be that only prior business owners and some other risk positions, assumed risk positions, such as attorneys and judges and state's attorneys and stuff like that, could get handgun permits. So if you have a prior handgun permit under one of these sections, you're going to click off on it. You're going to put in your permit number and your expiration date. But that's not going to restrict you moving forward of getting a personal protection permit. Okay, so, and then we're going to click next. Okay, so we're going to go to next screen. It's going to ask you the applicant questionnaire, which is similar to a 77R. It's going to ask you if you've ever been served with domestic violence, have you ever been charged with different crimes, so on and so forth. I'm going to select no. Okay, and we're going to move forward for that. It's going to ask you whether you're on parole, and again, so on and so forth. And I'm just checking no because I already know the answers to these questions as far as I'm concerned. But obviously, you would read each question and fill it out correctly. You do not want to lie on this application, number one. And number two, if you have been arrested in the past, even if it was expunged or you got a probation before judgment or something of that nature, then you have to check off that you've been arrested, and you have to explain why or what for, even if it meets those those standards, that it's no longer on your record. Okay, because if you've been arrested and fingerprinted, it'll still pull an FBI number. The other thing with this is I get a lot of questions about current cannabis users that hold a Maryland cannabis card. You cannot apply for a handgun permit currently, as the date of this video, if you are a cannabis card holder. Okay, so the only way you can do that is if a year has passed since you were a current cannabis card holder and now you're doing the application for a handgun permit. So we're going to click next, and again it's going to ask you the rest of these specified questions. It's going to ask you for a reason for your handgun permit. Okay, so you don't have to really put anything specific in here, but you're registering for a personal protection handgun permit, so you would put in here personal protection. Okay, and you're going to click next. Have you been employed the last 5 years? If you have, you're going to click next, and you're going to add your employer's information. Okay, so I'm just going to select no so we can advance this. It's going to ask you domestic relationship. Okay, so they want to know if you have a domestic partner, so on and so forth. Okay, if you don't, you're going to click not applicable. Then it's going to ask for application references. You have to supply 3 references. Okay, you can't move forward without 3 references. So you want to make sure that you do that. After you do that, you're going to click next. Okay, and it's going to go to upload documents. So it's going to ask you for certain documents for this. Number one, it's going to ask you for 2 passport size photos. These photos have to be 2x2 against the light background. So if you don't know how to do that, I'm sure there's other YouTube videos about how to resize your photos. but you have to take a photo of yourself without wearing a hat and glasses, so on and so forth, and then make it a 2x2 photo. You're going to upload those photos by clicking here. If you have a handgun exemption, then you're going to select that you're exempt from your permit, okay, exempt from the training requirement, and it's going to give you the laws in reference to who is exempt and who is not exempt. If you are not exempt, then you're going to click for your search for qualified handgun instructor. Okay, so I'm listed in here. I apologize, it's by my last name. So you have to enter in the instructor's last name. Last but not least, you are going to attach your fingerprinting document. So that's the document that you got at your live scan location. You have to either scan that or take a photo of that and attach that as well. Okay, and where it says down here, personal protection documentation, there must be documented evidence of recent threats, so on and so forth. You do not have to enter in any of that information. Okay, so we're just going to click next. And we have some selections here that are incomplete. But you would enter them in as complete as possible. Obviously, I don't have this information right now because I already have a handgun permit and I'm not re-registering. So you would click next and it would take you to a confirmation and payment screen. Okay. If you have any questions, please contact the Maryland State Police licensing portal. Email, they prefer to get contacted by email. So if you want to check the status of your application, you're just going to go back to the Maryland State Police licensing portal. You hit continue to dashboard, okay, and it's going to show you what applications you have pending. If you've purchased a gun and you completed 77R, that's going to appear here, and your handgun application status is going to appear on the handgun application status page.